Mm-hmm.
There's a person trying to do the anonymous call-in thing again. I don't know why. It's not going to happen.
I want 8. I want 8.
All right, sure. Don't mess with the Gohan. Gohan in Texas, you are on the line with Jimmy and Jovan. Gohan, how are you?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Peachy.
Chilling.
Give it to us.
Great. So I think this is my first time talking to both of you guys, so hello. My main stance, my main stance on why I voted for Trump. I know he's not as pro-life as I would like him, but he was more pro-life than the other candidate.
Who wasn't pro-life? Sure.
I think you should be pro-life as well.
Why?
Okay, and I think that you cannot make a non-religious, you cannot make a single secular, scientific, or objective argument that supports the pro-life movement. So this is going to be the thing. If all you have is some kind of my interpretation of Christianity thing, you don't even need to worry about defending abortion. You need to prove your version of Christianity true. But if you think you can make a secular argument, then we'll hear it, but I warn you, you will fail.
Okay, and I do accept that challenge because that's the way I'm going down. And just to be clear, there are secular pro-lifers out there, like, well,
I know, and they're wrong.
I'm going to tell you, most. I've only run into one secular pro-life argument, and it's a bad argument to begin with. Most pro-life arguments will always come down to religion, because it boils down to they believe humans were granted some inalienable right to life, and they believe it was granted to them prior to birth. And the only way that they can hold that stance is if they believe in some higher power.
By the way, you just failed. You already failed within the first 10 seconds of trying to make your secular case, because you said there were secular pro-lifers, which means you don't understand what pro-life is, because the first person you cited was Christopher Hitchens, who Christopher Hitchens says he is ethically uneasy about abortion. He did not say make it illegal. He said that he felt when considering the termination of a life, the subject of that life should be consulted, however, was opposed to the government imposition of no abortion. Pro-life does not mean, or pro-choice does not mean you would yourself get an abortion. Pro-choice doesn't even mean you yourself thinks abortion is cool. Pro-choice means you get the choice. And he supported not getting the government between a person and their doctor. He did not believe in a ban. And just as you said, you think Donald Trump isn't pro-life enough. He definitely was to the left of Donald Trump on abortion by a lot.
So, I mean, I would say there are some smaller details that are wrong there. Like, he was in support of the overturning of Roe v. Wade. He said it should go back to the states, and states want to outlaw it. That's fine.
Who said that?
He was Hitchens. He was in favor of overturning Roe v. Wade for that reason. He said it should.
When did he say that?
Up to each state. I'm not sure.
Wait, now we're just arguing about what Hitchens
go back to the state, right? And by the way, I literally just fact check it. I can't. And by the way, this database has access to every word he ever said. He never once expressed favoring reversing Roe v. Wade. So unless you can cite me where I'm wrong, I'm going to dismiss that as you just made that the fuck up. And I knew you did already, because you used the phrase, give it back to the states, which is a phrase that Donald Trump, while it isn't untrue of what other people have said, that's very much a Trumpism. He wanted it to go back to the states. We're literally talking about something being a civil right or not, and no person with half a brain thinks a civil right should be decided at the state level versus the federal level.
So, I mean, I'll keep looking it up as we keep talking, but...
Great, I'm looking forward to where you find him saying turn over Roe v. Wade.
Okay, so I'll keep looking at that as we keep talking. Off the top of my head, I don't remember. But,
yeah, because he didn't. Because he didn't do it.
I do believe I can make a argument that secular humanists should support.
Lay it on.
Go for it.
So there's two separate arguments or two separate stances that need to be held. One is that there should be no direct killing of a human organism unless there's a sufficient level of high risk of severe harm. And then the second one is parents should not be allowed to starve their children.
Great, they already can.
So the second one is kind of pointless. The second one is kind of pointless because the first one falls flat on its face. I don't care if a human organism dies. I never would care if a human organism dies. That's not telling me anything. Because why is it wrong to kill a human organism?
I mean, if I'm correct, secular humanism has as its stance the flourishment of humans. Is that correct?
Yep. Maximizing the well-being of humans.
Wait. Before we move on to that, just please answer. Wait. I can't say your name, but just answer me the question. Why is it wrong to kill a human organism?
As for a secular humanist, I said this is for a secular humanist standpoint. If you kill humans,
and I would say that in secular humanism it is not on it. In secular humanism, it is not on its face wrong to kill a human organism.
Unless there's high risk of severe harm.
Nope. It's doesn't matter whether there's severe harm or not. What matters. I'm telling you that you're wrong. What matters when it comes to killing an organism, killing a human, is whether or not that human has personhood. Secular humanists would believe this same thing because you're not doing any harm to killing something that is not a person yet. They can't experience harm. You can't make someone experience a thing when they have the inability to experience. So this is why I asked, why is it wrong on its face to kill a human organism? Secular humanists wouldn't just say, blanket, it's wrong to kill a human organism. If I told Jimmy, as a secular humanist, hey, Jimmy, here's a hunting rifle, you can take out Hitler. Jimmy would do it in a heartbeat.
I'm more excited by the time machine. Hey,
severe harm.
Gohan, do we need to put placentas on life support when they are after delivery?
Is a placenta a human organism?
Correct. It is a genetic twin to the baby, and it is alive. Yes.
It is not a genetic twin to the baby.
Yes, it is.
Then how come it doesn't develop into one?
Because no, this is your point. This is the point we're making. It doesn't have a brain, and what we're calling becomes into a baby would be that accomplishment of personhood. And by the way, we're now going to get split into multiple factors of when does that personhood come in? When should one be more ethically considerate? Does that have something to do with consciousness? But clearly it's because the placenta doesn't have the qualities that accomplish autonomy. It doesn't have the qualities that accomplish consciousness, and yet is a genetic twin of the baby and is a living organism, a living human organism.
It's not a human organism. I'm sorry. You can look it up. I just looked it up to double check.
Let me hold on.
It's alive and has the same genes as the baby.
It's alive.
Wait, hold on, G. Let's just take it like two steps back, right? Can you show me any harm done by killing a fetus prior to that fetus being a sentient creature?
That's not of my standard, but no.
That would be our standard. That would be the standard. Personhood is decided by sentience, and at least in my worldview, I would assume Jimmy's worldview. But personhood is decided by the sentient. Wait. This is hold on. You are the one who came in as a pro-lifer, right? So you are trying to justify making abortions illegal. I'm not trying to justify anything.
I said you would use secular means. So far, you're all in your fields.
We always start from a level of everything is okay to do, and then you justify why we should not do it. So I'm asking you, why should we not do abortions? If you're going to give me a secular argument, give me a secular argument. If the argument is about harm, abortions don't cause harm.
By the way, the funny thing is we're getting stuck on personhood when personhood still won't be the standard by which whether you can commit an abortion.
I didn't bring up the term personhood. That's you guys. And if you can correct me,
You
if
brought
I'm
up
wrong,
secular humanism, and personhood would be part of whether or not a human needs consideration. So regardless of whether or not, you can't say you didn't bring it up when it is an element of the category that you brought up.
I don't believe personhood is a scientific term. I think it's a psychological term that has interpretations that can mean anything. So it's a
And you've already acknowledged that there is no harm if personhood hasn't been accomplished.
Again, I didn't include the word harm. I said killing, purposeful
You were
killing.
asked
or
whether or not you can point to any harm prior to personhood, and you said no.
Let's take it back even further, Jimmy. Let's take it back even further.
I don't
because
believe
I refuse to. G, hold on. We're going to take it back even further. Why is it wrong to kill another human? If killing is wrong, why is it wrong?
This is where you guys could 100% educate me. I was under the understanding that in secular humanism, it's wrong to kill other humans, not other persons.
Not always.
Okay, so that's maybe where I was wrong.
It has nuance.
It's always wrong to kill.
But wait, I don't know why you're trying to argue with us.
You're trying to make your argument dependent on no nuance, and it has nuance. One of the ways in which you can kill a person is if, for example, if your autonomy is being violated and the consequence of regaining your autonomy is the death of another individual, you have neither killed them nor have you done anything good or bad. It is an amoral act.
That's why I said direct killing. So it's not just that your consequence leaves them dead, it's that your action directly kills them. So if someone is violating
reclaiming your autonomy, it is a consequence. It is a consequence. If you're living off of me, Gohan, if we hook you up to my kidneys and I'm filtering your blood and I disconnect that, I have not committed some sin or some crime because you don't have a right to my kidneys to support your body. Right. Correct. That's an abortion.
I don't know why you're trying to push. You don't have to try to force your argument into what you believe a secular humanist argument is going to be. Just give an argument that does not come from religion. That's it. Like, why is killing bad in a non-religious sense?
I'm still going down the secular humanist one because that's the only secular framework I know that has morality built into it.
You failed on the secular humanist one, and I just explained to you why.
Here's what we'll do. Hold on. Here's what we'll do. I don't agree with this framework, right, of your secular humanist framework. I don't agree with it. I don't believe killing is a wrong act. I believe murder is a wrong act. So now that we've come to this understanding, can you tell me why, under this purview, abortion would not be justified?
And I would like to, can I really quickly respond to Jimmy's question first, since he asked it first?
Sure.
Okay. So Jimmy was asking if I am hooked up to him and he disconnects me, and then I end up dying of that. My question back to him would be, what do I die of? Do I die of starvation? Do I die of kidney failure, XYZ? Whatever,
like the kidney failure, blood toxicity, there's a number of things that can kill you. One of them will kill you first if you no longer have access to functioning kidneys.
And then if we are talking about an abortion and you don't want me hooked up to you anymore, it's not just like separation and leaving me to starve. It is direct killing. They poison the kid first and then they let it come out.
And when it is,
on the type of abortion,
Gohan. This doesn't affect. Hang on, Gohan. This literally doesn't affect me at all. You think that you've like gotten an aha, and I'm about to show you how dumb it is. Let's say I'm supporting your body, but you are brain dead. If somebody comes in and goes, okay, we're going to disconnect and we're going to use this basically sedative, and their body is just going to calmly go to sleep. There is no consciousness, so they die directly. Then it's kind of like, okay, doesn't matter because they don't have personhood. So it literally does not matter at all because they are brain dead. Go ahead and kill this thing that is subsisting off of me. But now if we switch to you do have consciousness and they go, okay, when we do this, they're going to drown on their own blood and be entirely miserable. While they have some amount of experience, they do not have enough cognitive ability to make decisions. So you are also their guardian, and you get to decide, do we make them suffer and drown on their own blood because it'll back up into their lungs? Or do we put them to sleep? Their death is certain either way. And so with their death being certain, do we make them drown, or do we do an act of kindness and essentially put them to sleep and let them die without ever feeling any amount of suffering? Those are the actual choices for abortion. The non-personhood, therefore poisoning it, is nothing, just like it is not anything to poison if somebody is completely brain dead. If that's the way you ended their life, wouldn't fucking matter. And then when it comes to late-term abortions, those are the conditions under which doctors perform late-term abortions, because otherwise, if a person has a child that would survive, the abortion they give is just delivery, and then they give the kid up for adoption if it's that the parent doesn't want it anymore. Nobody's going in and getting a late-term abortion and killing a perfectly viable baby in a stage of viability, that's not a word, viability, and then just being like, oh, kill it because I just don't want it to exist in society. You're making up this like you're trying to make these metaphors hyper specific to a place where you can morally corner somebody, and it literally fails at every avenue.
Okay, so there was a lot there. I'm going to try respond to what I
Go
remember
for it.
the
It was
most.
complete debunking of the nonsense you said. Give it a shot.
So you said like you give them a sedative and then they end up dying. Is that sedative what killed them? Or do they just
which instance are you describing? Because it doesn't even matter. Sure. I already said, even if it is straight up poison, in both situations, it's fine to do. Because in the one situation, there's no personhood to consider. Therefore, you are doing nothing, just like poisoning grass is not anything. Poisoning a bit of furniture is not doing anything. And in the other one, the poison is actually an act of compassion to not allow this person to suffer.
Yeah.
So which one?
Again, I don't understand why we're using the term personhood, because that's not a scientific term. Human organism is.
I know. Sentience. Use whichever one you want. The capacity to suffer. Use that word if you like.
Hold on. This isn't a scientific conversation. It's a philosophical one. We're asking whether abortions are good or bad. That's not a scientific question. That is a question on philosophy. Personhood is like directly tied to the philosophy on whether abortions are good or bad. It can be backed up by science. There's scientific things that back up the argument,
But Gohan, I already more specifically defined it as the capacity to have the experience. Basically, if they are able to suffer and understand that they are suffering, they are conscious of it, able to. Personhood was the short term for it. You're now trying to be pedantic about it because you think, and you want to avoid the actual point itself, which is whether it is, you call it poison or sedative, there's nothing wrong in either case.
Okay, so then let me ignore the sedative. Let me go to the pack of poisoning.
Great.
And you're saying to like diminish some sort of future pain. Is that correct?
The overwhelming, no, sure, for the late term. Remind, and if you want to start with late term, you can. But first, you need to concede that if there is no ability for a fetus to actually suffer, then to poison it and cause it to die is no worse than poisoning anything else that is alive because of the difference of the lack of sentience.
Well, one, I would need you to define the term capacity, because is capacity built off of genes?
This is hilarious. This is hilarious amounts of pedantry. Clearly, we are talking about conscious experience. I'm not only having a pain stimulation response, but my brain is considering it. I have achieved consciousness, those parts of my brain that are the difference between a 2-week-old and a 25-week-old that has either turned on or not.
You said that personhood is based off capacity for
personhood is actually a much greater concept. I was using personhood in the short term when talking about the difference between you as either a brain dead person or a person with sentience. That personhood includes within it sentience, therefore the capacity for not just to suffer, because anything can show reaction to stimulation, but the ability to consider and actually experience the suffering on a greater conscious level. You're not going to win this argument of pedantry. Sorry, what?
Pedantry. You say pedantry. I say this is a very life or death issue of defining terms. But
right, and yet you're being extremely pedantic because by context, everybody else in the live chat has been able to understand it perfectly well. Nobody is sitting here. They're all making fun of so what do you mean by this word, when it's all pretty clear? And again, everything I'm clarifying to you, I have said some version of so far. So it's literally pure pedantry because I'm having to repeat myself.
You have not defined capacity yet. Is it based off DNA or not?
Okay, now we're going to define capacity. Okay.
I've been asking you to do that for a little bit now.
I honestly, Gohan, we have one caller left in 14 minutes, so I think I'm going to see if somebody else wants to take a shot without being pedantic. You have done nothing here, and now you're going to sit. The next word you're going to need to find is the. Because everybody else, once I've already said consciousness, once I've already said sentience, when I say the capacity to suffer and experience the suffering, no one else is having difficulty understanding it. So we're going to see if the last caller has the capacity for honesty, unless Jovan has something else that he wants to do with your insufferable pedantic ass.
No,
I mean, I'm still just being, I just want to know why it's bad.
You still haven't actually hit it being bad.
Thank you guys for the time. You kind of
wait. What is the definition of thank?
Couldn't tell you. Life or death is not built on that.
I'm sure. What is life? Could you just go ahead and define what do you mean by life?
The scientific term, since you guys.
Oh, sorry. What do you mean by scientific? Could you define scientific?
Biology, for example.
Oh, wait. Sorry. Could you define O? This is what it's like to talk to you, Gohan. You have a great day.
It's okay if you don't have a definition.
Don't know what other dumb thing he was going to try to slip in there at the end.
If you like this debate and you want to see more debates like this, head over to the Lines page at Q on the Line or Jimmy Snow on the Line at Jimmy Snow.